What's the price of a sandwich? A piece of fruit? A cookie? For Emily, it was everything. Every morning, her mother woke up early, carefully filling her lunchbox so she would never feel left out, never go hungry. But the truth behind those meals was something Emily didn't see, something no child should ever have to learn. Until one day, she found out the heartbreaking reality. And it made her ask the question, does every mother sacrifice like this? Today, you'll hear a story of love, hunger, and a lunchbox that carried more than food. It carried a mother's silent tears. What's the price of a sandwich? A piece of fruit? A cookie? To Emily, it was nothing more than part of her school day. But to her mother, each item inside that little lunchbox carried a cost far greater than Emily could ever imagine. Every morning, before the sun rose, Emily's mother would wake up quietly. The house was small and old, with wooden floors that creaked if you stepped too hard. She tiptoed into the kitchen so she wouldn't wake her daughter. The cupboards were nearly empty. A half loaf of bread. 2 eggs. A single apple. Still, she smiled. Because Emily would have lunch today. She carefully spread a thin layer of peanut butter on bread, pretending it was enough. She sliced the apple into neat little pieces, placing them inside a small container. Then she wrapped a cookie, the last one from the pack, and tucked it gently into the lunchbox. The cookie wasn't for hunger. The cookie was for joy. When she was finished, she closed the lunchbox and pressed it to her chest for a moment. This will make her happy, she whispered to herself. At 7 o'clock, Emily came bouncing into the kitchen. She was only 8 years old, her hair still messy from sleep, her eyes bright with energy. "Morning, Mommy," she said. "Good morning, sunshine," her mother replied, her tired face glowing with warmth. On the table, Emily saw her lunchbox waiting. She opened it with excitement, her little hands clapping when she saw the cookie. "Wow! You're the best, Mommy. Other kids don't get cookies every day." Her mother smiled, but deep inside, her heart ached. She hadn't eaten dinner last night so she could save the cookie for Emily. Her own stomach twisted with hunger, but Emily's smile made it worth it. At school, Emily was proud of her lunchbox. Her best friend, Sarah, would sometimes ask, "How do you always have such nice lunches?" Emily shrugged. "Because my mommy loves me." And she believed it. That evening, when Emily came home, she ran into her mother's arms. "Mommy, my teacher said I read the best today. She gave me a star." Her mother hugged her tightly. "I'm so proud of you, Emily. You're my little star." They sat together on the floor because they didn't have a dining table. Emily pulled out her homework, and her mother patiently helped her. When it was time for dinner, Emily noticed there wasn't much food. Just a small bowl of rice and beans. "Mommy, aren't you eating?" Emily asked. Her mother smiled. "I already ate while you were at school." It wasn't true. She hadn't eaten all day. But Emily didn't need to know that. Later that night, when Emily had fallen asleep, her mother sat by the window, staring at the moon. Her stomach growled painfully. But her heart was full. "If she smiles tomorrow," she whispered, "it will be worth it." The next morning, the same routine continued. Early rise. Empty cupboards. A quiet kitchen. She managed to pack another small lunch, half a sandwich, a piece of fruit, and half a cookie she had saved. Emily ran out the door, hugging her mother tightly. "Bye, Mommy. Love you." Her mother waved until Emily disappeared down the street, then sat at the table in silence. She pressed her hands to her empty stomach and whispered, "Love you more." But something was beginning to change. At school, Sarah noticed Emily never finished her lunch. "You don't eat much," Sarah said. "You always leave food." Emily laughed. "That's because my lunchbox is always too full." My mommy makes so much food. Sarah frowned. But, sometimes my mom says we can't have cookies because they're too expensive. How does your mom always give you cookies? Emily didn't have an answer. She just smiled proudly and said, because my mommy is special. That evening, Emily came home again. This time, she noticed something different. Her mother looked pale, weaker than usual. She coughed softly as she tried to prepare dinner. "Mommy, are you okay?" Emily asked. "I'm fine, sweetheart. Just a little tired." But Emily wasn't convinced. She noticed her mother only pretended to eat. She stirred her spoon in the bowl, pushed the food around, and then said, "I'm full." Emily frowned. "Mommy, you don't eat much." Her mother smiled gently. "That's because I'm not as hungry as you." Emily didn't question it further. She was too young to understand. But something inside her heart felt uneasy. One night, Emily woke up thirsty. She went to the kitchen quietly to get a glass of water. But when she passed by the kitchen, she saw her mother sitting at the table, holding her stomach. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she drank a glass of water slowly, as if it were food. Emily froze. She had never seen her mother cry before. She wanted to run to her, but she didn't. She didn't know what to say. Instead, she tiptoed back to bed, her little heart pounding. The next morning, Emily couldn't stop thinking about what she saw. When her mother handed her the lunchbox, Emily hugged her tightly. "Mommy, thank you." Her mother was surprised. "For what?" "For everything," Emily whispered. Her mother kissed her forehead and said, "That's what mothers do." But as Emily walked to school, her heart was heavy. She didn't understand everything yet, but she was beginning to realize something: her lunchbox was not free. Each sandwich, each apple, each cookie, her mother was paying for them, not with money, but with hunger. And deep inside, Emily wondered, does every mother do that for their kids? The days passed, and the little lunchbox continued to be filled. Every morning, Emily's mother woke up early, tiptoed into the kitchen, and quietly packed food into it. But Emily could not forget what she had seen that night, the image of her mother holding her empty stomach, drinking water as if it were a meal. She didn't say anything at first. She was only 8, and her little heart didn't fully understand. But she watched more closely now. She noticed how her mother's clothes were getting looser, how her hands sometimes shook while buttoning her sweater, how she always said, "I already ate," when Emily knew she hadn't. One afternoon, Emily came home from school. She placed her lunchbox on the table, and for the first time, she opened it in front of her mother. Inside, the sandwich was half-eaten, the apple untouched, and the cookie broken in two. "Emily," her mother said gently, "why didn't you finish your lunch?" Emily's eyes filled with tears. Because I want you to eat too, Mommy." Her mother froze. For a moment, the kitchen was silent. Then she knelt down beside her daughter and pulled her close. "Sweetheart," she whispered, "why would you say that?" Emily wiped her eyes. "Because I saw you, Mommy. I saw you drinking water instead of eating. I saw you cry when you thought I was sleeping. You always say you're full, but you're not." Her mother's lips trembled. She tried to speak, but no words came. Finally, she held Emily tighter and whispered, "I didn't want you to know." Emily's small voice broke through the silence. "But why, Mommy? Why don't you eat?" Her mother brushed Emily's hair gently. "Because, my love, a mother's heart is always full when her child is full. I can live with hunger. But I can't live knowing you are hungry." Emily began to cry, her little hands clutching her mother's worn sweater. "But Mommy, that's not fair. You need to eat too. You can't always give everything to me." Her mother smiled weakly. "That's what mothers do. We give, even when we have nothing left, because our children are our everything." That night, Emily couldn't sleep. Her mother's words echoed in her mind, "That's what mothers do." But Emily knew it couldn't go on like this. The next day at school, she made a quiet decision. At lunch, she ate only half her sandwich and carefully saved the rest. She wrapped the apple pieces in a napkin and placed the cookie back inside the box. When she came home, she handed the lunchbox to her mother. "Here, Mommy. This is for you." Her mother looked surprised. "Emily, this is your lunch." "No," Emily said firmly. "This is our lunch." Her mother's eyes welled up with tears. She wanted to refuse, but Emily pushed the box into her hands. "Please, Mommy. I don't want you to be hungry anymore. We can share." Her mother finally gave in, taking a small bite of the sandwich. It wasn't much, but the way Emily smiled made it taste like a feast. From that day on, things began to change. Every morning, Emily still found her lunchbox waiting on the table, filled with food. But now, every afternoon, Emily brought some of it home, on purpose. Sometimes half a sandwich. Sometimes a piece of fruit. Sometimes the cookie. She would hand it back to her mother and say, "This is for us." At first, her mother tried to hide her tears. But soon, she stopped. She realized her daughter wasn't just a child anymore, she was learning the meaning of love. One Saturday, Emily sat with her mother by the window. The sky was cloudy, and rain tapped gently on the glass. "Mommy," Emily asked, "does every mother do this? Do all mothers go hungry for their kids?" Her mother was quiet for a long moment. She looked at her daughter, her eyes soft but sad. "Not every mother," she said finally. "But every good mother will do whatever she can for her child. Some give food. Some give time. Some give up dreams. But all mothers give something of themselves. That's what makes them mothers." Emily thought about it. Then she hugged her mother tightly and whispered, "Then you're the best mother in the whole world." Her mother kissed her forehead. "And you're the reason I can smile, even when I'm hungry." That night, Emily wrote something in her notebook. Her handwriting was messy, but her words were clear. "My mommy is the strongest person in the world. She gives me food even when she has none. She loves me more than cookies, more than sandwiches, more than anything. One day, I will grow up and give her back everything she gave me. I will never let her be hungry again." She folded the paper and placed it inside her mother's pillow. The next morning, when her mother found the note, she cried. But this time, they were not tears of hunger or pain. They were tears of love. She hugged Emily so tightly and whispered, "You're my little blessing." And from then on, whenever Emily opened her lunchbox, she didn't just see food. She saw her mother's love. A love that was bigger than hunger. A love that no money could ever buy. A love that answered the question forever, does every mother do that for their kids? The answer was simple. Not every mother. But hers did. And that was enough to change Emily's world forever. Moral of the story. A mother's love is the purest form of sacrifice. She gives without asking, she loves without limits, and she suffers silently so her child can smile. Every child should learn not only to receive but also to give back, to see the sacrifices, to say, thank you, and to love their mothers the way they deserve.